Well, it turns out that we are finally in a position where we can say the quarter is officially sold out for the Model Y. Now, last month there were some videos out there saying that the quarter had already been sold out, but the delivery time was still showing September. Now, that has been the case all month long, and that is at least until last night. Now, when you go to purchase a long-range all-wheel drive Tesla Model Y, the delivery expected time is now October, so officially into Q4 before you should expect to receive your car. Now, there are so many dynamics at play and so many things can happen that could potentially give you your car much sooner than what the website says. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's not a perfect science, unfortunately, to determine exactly when you should expect your new car. But the thing we do know for sure is if you place your order in today, Tesla is communicating it won't be until October that you should expect to receive your car. So in Q2, halfway through the quarter, mid-May, we found out that deliveries were sold out all the way through the rest of Q2. So that was pretty impressive. Basically, in 6 weeks, they sold the entire quarter's production capacity. Here we are in Q3, and it seems like here in the first couple of weeks, they've sold out the entire quarter's production. So we're not really surprised given the fact that last quarter we saw the same thing. It just happened much sooner this quarter. So demand continues to be extremely strong for Tesla across the board. Now, there are some other updates that we did have this last week, and first and foremost is we saw that the Model S and the Model X long-range variants both increased by $5,000. Now, of course, the Model S Plaid did increase by $10,000 last month, so now you're looking at an increase of $5,000 for both the Model S and Model X long-range all-wheel drive cars. Deliveries of the Model S long-range variant have begun as of last month. Of course, the Plaid has been delivering as well. But the long-range refresh Model S is going to be a very popular car, and we'll talk about lead time on that as well. But first, I want to talk about the Model Y and it being sold out this quarter because it's definitely going to paint a very interesting picture. I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Phantom Wallet. Phantom Wallet offers premium wallet designs with an aluminum chassis with options of wood, leather, and carbon fiber finishes. Grab the card you need with a quick flip of the lever. RFID and NFC protection are built in, ensuring a safe and secure alternative to traditional options. Make sure to use code BTG to save 10% on your order. So starting with the long-range all-wheel drive model, it now says October before delivery of a long-range Model Y. It doesn't vary depending on which model you get, which color, which options, all of that stuff. Just straight up, Q4 before you should expect to receive your car. Now, of course, this isn't anything different than what we've seen in the past, but the performance model, you can get it much sooner, between 7 and 11 weeks. And that's typically been the case because the performance model is quite a bit more expensive than the long-range all-wheel drive option. So obviously, as price goes up, demand does go down, and that's just to be expected. Now, moving on to the Model 3, something very interesting we're seeing happening over here. Starting with the standard range plus model, it says 8 to 12 weeks, and 8 to 12 weeks is quite a long time. Basically, you should expect to receive delivery of a standard range plus sometime at the end of this quarter. And for the long range all-wheel drive Model 3, it's actually 11 to 17 weeks, and it's kind of odd, those numbers that are coming up. Now, if you follow these weekly, you'll likely see these drop by 1 week on the low side and the high side each week that we move on throughout this month. And then finally, with the performance model, it's the same story as in the Model Y. The Model 3 performance does say 7 to 11 weeks. Now, what's really interesting here is the longest lead time car of the past has always been the standard range plus Model 3. Now, the Model Y standard range did come available for a very short period of time, but since it's gone away, the standard range plus Model 3 continues to be the only economy version, and I say that with quotes because we're still talking about quite a bit of money, but it is absolutely the most affordable Tesla that you can purchase today. Now, with that, it generally has the most demand. However, when the Model Y launched, there was so much talk about, including from Elon Musk himself, that the Model Y was going to be the most popular car that they sell. And although we don't have official numbers to break down Model Y deliveries versus Model 3, we are seeing a very clear picture out there that the Model Y is potentially starting to outpace the Model 3 options. I think that there's quite a bit here to talk about. So the Model 3 Standard Range Plus is probably going to continue to be a big bulk of volume for the Model 3 sales. However, once you step up to the long-range all-wheel drive model or the performance, that increase going from a Model 3 to a Model Y is not a significant jump in price. And because of that, you can get quite a bit more car for just a little bit more money. They are very similar cars. However, you get additional storage capacity in the Model Y than you do in the Model 3. Now, of course, the trade-off is the Model 3 has more range, so it is a give and take, but for families or people who do a lot of adventure travel or want to bring bikes with them, you can store so much in the Model Y a little bit easier, and in some cases stuff that you can't store in the Model 3. And it's no surprise at all, in the United States the SUV portion of car sales has continued to grow, especially the CUV market, which is more of that small SUV family of cars. That has continued to explode over the last decade, and very much so in the last 5 years. So it's very interesting to see that this is happening, because the Model 3 will always be a bit less than the Model Y, and that will continue to be such a strong contender out there. As a matter of fact, it's probably the best value in an EV that you can buy today, at least I argue, because of the benefits of having a Tesla versus a different EV. But we won't go into that here. So as the Model Y continues to sell in droves, it'll be interesting to see if the shift continues as we move forward, or if demand will finally level off a little bit as we start to move towards production happening in Giga Austin. I really believe once production is up and running in Giga Austin, we should be able to get more throughput in developing and shipping out Model Ys out of that facility. Once this does happen, of course, we're going to have more volume of cars being able to be built every year. Now, with that said, there's also something else really exciting about Model Y volume. For all of our followers in Europe, it does appear that Tesla is officially setting up deliveries for the Model Y made in China for the European market. Now, this is definitely a surprise, but I think there's a reason for it. Of course, this is great news. This means if you have a Model Y on order in Europe and you've been waiting all this time to possibly get your hands on a Model Y, for the longest time we've been hearing that the Model Y in Europe would not come until Giga Berlin is complete. However, there have been countless roadblocks, and there have been many delays on Giga Berlin. Of course, it's unfortunate. However, Tesla has made the decision to go ahead and utilize the capacity at Giga Shanghai to go ahead and start making deliveries in Europe. I believe we're going to see this trend continue as they start to serve even more markets with the Model Y. Of course, we just found out that Hong Kong is now going to be able to be taking delivery of a standard range Model Y, as well as, of course, China. So the standard range is dead here in America. However, in Asia, it sounds like the standard range Model Y is back on the menu, which is fantastic news. When the Model Y standard range became available for a very short period of time here in the United States, it had to have been just an unbelievably popular option. You cannot get your hands on one here in the States anymore, and on the used market, it is selling for quite a premium over a new car. Obviously, there's no surprise. At least for the last version of the Model Y standard range that was made here in the United States, the only difference between a standard range and a long-range all-wheel drive was a smaller battery, one less motor, and instead of free premium connectivity for a year, you got it for 30 days. That's it. Everything else was the same. You still had all the same premium features on the inside. So we'll see what it looks like coming out of Giga Shanghai if they do remove some of the options and make it more like the Standard Range Plus Model 3. Time will tell, but this is such an awesome opportunity for those of you outside of the United States who want to get your hands on a more economical version of the Model Y. And then finally, for lead times for the Model S and Model X, the long-range all-wheel drive Model S currently states deliveries are between September and October. This is recently updated because we were seeing almost immediate deliveries still available. But since the release of that refresh interior, now that people are getting a first-hand look at these cars, the refresh is fantastic. The inside of this car feels so much different than previous generation Model S's. And this has obviously driven up additional demand that was not originally there before the launch. Now, of course, Once the refresh was seen firsthand, it was immediately starting to take deliveries right thereafter. We were there at the event. It was an awesome event, but we got a up close and personal look, and a lot of you have as well. So demand for that long-range all-wheel drive Model S is very strong right now, it seems, and we'll be keeping an eye to see if this thing starts to stretch out even farther. Of course, the Model S and Model X do not have extremely large volume capacity at the facility. However, they are going to continue to ship 2 deliveries. Unfortunately, with that $5,000 increase, it now starts at $84,990. Now the Plaid Model S did stay at that same price after the $10,000 increase we saw some time ago, and delivery is expected in August. And for the Model X, we're still seeing January to February of 2022 expected lead time. I would keep an eye on the long-range all-wheel drive variant. As we started to see first-hand experience with the refresh interior, I would imagine orders are going to start coming in for that Model X. And of course, as we get closer to when it starts delivering, I think we'll start to see additional demand and backfill of orders start to fill in. Now with that $5,000 increase, unfortunately, the Model X long-range all-wheel drive is now $94,990, which is a huge sum of money. And the Plaid Model X has not changed in price even when the Model S Plaid did. So it is still $10,000 cheaper than the Model S Plaid. If you are considering a Model X Plaid, I highly recommend you put your order in for that now at $119,990. You're gonna have that price locked in. There's absolutely no guarantees that Tesla will honor that price. However, they have shown that they are willing to do that time and time again, whether it's the Model Y, the Model 3, the Model S, or the Model X. Various times they have kept the original order price in place, assuming you don't make any changes to your configuration. So this may be a good opportunity to slide in, get the Plaid Model X before it increases in price, closer to when we expect to see it deliver. So there you have it. Those are the updates for today. Quite a busy week at Tesla. A lot of new things coming, and we're looking forward to seeing what's coming next. Of course, version 9 beta of full self-driving is now out. There's a lot of really good videos of that. We still anticipate seeing full self-driving subscription model any day now, and I keep checking frequently throughout the day to see when that does officially launch. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Of course, if you did, give it the big thumbs up. It helps out tremendously. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bearded Tesla. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.